It was pouring rain the night my sister screamed, "I hate you!" and pushed me out of the car as I struggled to get back inside. It wasn't her words that had me struggling so hard to get back inside. She'd said, "I hate you" to me hundreds of times in our 26 years together. It wasn't even the pouring rain. We had been spending the entire day outside at a Patriots game. It wasn't even the anger in her voice or the desperation in her eyes that had me working so hard to get back in the car. It was the fact that I might be losing my sister, and it was all my fault. We shouldn't have even been at that game in the first place. She got offered the tickets first thing in the morning. It was terrible weather. She knew I hated sports, so I was probably going to say no. "But Dev, you're the only person I asked, and I'm not inviting anybody else." That's my sister, I thought. She always knows how to get me. And God, I was, because I went. But that's the way it's always been. Being a year younger than my sister, I have always seen her as having this kind of unattainable coolness that I've sought to either emulate or be included in my entire life. Despite that, we were completely different. My sister was the bad girl, and I was the good one in comparison, I guess. Not to mention the fact that I was like horribly shy and self-conscious when I was younger, and so I saw her as like, everyone loved her, and I wanted to be just like her. But as we got older, I kind of tired of her like rebellious ways. She was always getting in trouble. She was always hurt and always coming to me to console her. And after a while, it really started to be painful for me to deal with. So I started trying to be totally different than her and blaming her for everything. And gradually, we started to grow apart. And we didn't really know it because neither of us talked about it the entire time. So we sort of pretended like we had this relationship when really we were climbing over a mound of hurt just to stay close together on the outside. So flash forward to the football game. We had a great day. It wasn't until the end that things went horribly wrong. The thing we fought about was really stupid. She offered a ride home to a guy that I didn't like. It was some friend of hers. And looking back, I was probably jealous because he would get to sit in the front seat and take all of her attention. And she knew I was pissed. And as soon as she dropped him off, I started in on her. "Why did you give that guy a ride home? Why are you always doing things for people who don't care about you, or worse, that treat you like shit? Why are you getting so mad at me? I'm just trying to help you." Well, by the time we got back to my neighborhood, we were both screaming. And it was my sister's turn this time. "Why do you make me feel so bad about myself? You make me feel like I'm nothing." And I'm like, "I'm just trying to help. Like, you always let people hurt you." Well, it's at this point the "I hate you" came out, and she pushed me out of the car. And I'm clawing at the door, trying desperately, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." And she's screaming from the inside, but she never drives away. And I think, like me, she was not actually prepared for a life without our sisterhood intact. Eventually, she lets me back in the car, and she looks at me and she says, "I don't need you to protect me. What I need is for you to stop judging me. All I need for you is to love me." And it was at that point I realized that I hadn't really loved her up until that point. What I thought was love was conditional love. For me, there was a way that things should be, and it was in that space that love existed. And therefore, things like mistakes and imperfections were impossible for me to reconcile. But what my sister did in that moment was she was demonstrating the kind of love that she was asking of me by sitting with me, forgiving me, and explaining to me how I could be better. My sister dropped me off at home, and 20 minutes later she called me to see if I was okay. And I'm like, "No, but, I think I will be." And she said, "Okay, well, if you need anything, call me, I love you." And I hung up the phone, and I realized that my sister had taught me the true meaning of love. It's something without limits or rules. It doesn't have any form or even function, really. It's something that opens rather than closes. It's composed of compassion, forgiveness, and at its core, acceptance. And I know that now because thanks to my sister, I've experienced it myself. Thanks.